Alright, you saw the title of this video, you clicked on it, and here we are. I'll explain. But first, an intro. Greetings, my good bitches, the name's Francis, Coke Francis. I'm an editor, comedy writer, drag artist, and I'm here because, hopefully, after watching this video, you guys will finally shut the hell up about Matt Rife. In my last video, I talked about why stand-up comedy has such a weird vibe these days, mainly due to rampant narcissism and corporate greed and hero worship. And plenty of people try their hand at stand-up when they definitely shouldn't. But apparently, so do certain producers and distributors of comedy specials. It started out with Comedy Central and HBO picking up a bunch of young up-and-comers who would eventually go on to be some of the biggest names in comedy. Then Netflix dominated the stand-up scene by releasing a new special every other week, which I believe was a main catalyst in quantity being valued higher than quality. In the 2010s, it was every comic's dream to nab a Netflix special one day. That was like the sign that you had made it as a comedian. Which is ironic considering how many great stand-up specials can be accessed for free on YouTube. Then, and I promise this is relevant, came the rise of Donald Trump, who, I'll admit it, has said a few humorous things. Like his exiting line after he got booed off stage at his own rally when he said he was vaccinated.
But I happen to take the vaccine. If it doesn't work, you'll be the first to know, okay?
Or when he absolutely dunked on the two unfunniest men on the planet. It's like when Patrick Starr would have those rare moments of mental clarity.
The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.
Even a broken clock is funny twice a day, even if that clock is a bloated fascist who essays people and genuinely needs to be unalived as soon as humanly possible. Well, it turns out that nearly half the country that I live in is made up of bloated fascists who take everything a cameo in Home Alone 2 says as gospel. And this cult also thinks he's funny, but not for the fluke strokes of genius that I just mentioned. They think he's funny because he's an equally terrible person that they can relate to, I think. In one of my earliest videos, I did a deep dive on a movie called An American Carol, and I discussed whether or not conservatives can do comedy. If you haven't watched that one yet, please go ahead and do so that I didn't spend 2 weeks making a video about a literal hate crime of a film. But my final determination was yes, of course conservatives are capable of doing comedy. Anybody potentially can be, regardless of political or religious affiliation. But something I've learned after making this video is that there's a difference between conservative comedians and conservative comedy. There are plenty of talented, successful comedians who have self-identified as conservative. Norm Macdonald is the first one who comes to mind, and he's one of my all-time faves. He was also the one who warned against comedians going for applause during their shows rather than going for laughs. He kept his politics out of comedy and focused on being one of the funniest fucking people who ever lived, rather than pandering to people who may or may not agree with his beliefs. The good die young and the pricks live forever. And then you have conservative comedy, which, like all forms of political comedy really, puts an emphasis on not actually being funny, but instead just saying things that an entire crowd with lead poisoning will agree and clap along with like a broken cymbal monkey. Oh, and just to be abundantly clear, liberal comics are just as cringe as their conservative counterparts. And unless you're South Park or George Carlin before he quit cocaine, it's best to just leave that shit at home. I promise you have nothing new to add to the conversation. You are not the modern day philosopher that Daddy Rogan loves to tell you you are. And that brings us to the topic of today's video. On one hand, you have these sad, bloated fascists who desperately seek validation and go crying to daddy on Truth Social. Wait, I just said that. Everyone's got a daddy nowadays. On the other hand, you have washed up comedians whose inability to find work has led them down a path of seeking validation from those also seeking validation, all while they profit off the culture war but paint themselves as the true victims in this narrative. Combined, they've given birth to something my weary eyes and knees never thought I'd live to see, let alone at almost 30. Fox News stand-up comedy specials. There are 2 of them, and I watched them both so that you, my good bitches, don't have to. You won't find any laughs here, just the
sad, sad tears of a clown.
But before you watch me suffer like no one else has, if you are a fan of watching a very tired drag queen talk about nerd shit forever, I ask that you please pop an entire bottle of Ambien and go on a deranged tweet spree. When you wake up and see that people are mad, go on TV to apologize, but instead just go ahead and unzip your pants and dick slap those like and subscribe buttons as hard as you can. Special thanks to Jalen Feniquito and my amazing co-producer Mitchell Pratt for providing the only laughs I experienced during this process. Now, just a side note, because I'm sure you thought we went into this with a preconceived bias, and we did, but we also made a promise to each other that if something genuinely made us laugh, we had to laugh and acknowledge it. First up is renowned Asian comedian Rob Schneider and his special, Woke Up in America. Oh boy. For those of you with little to no recollection of the 2000s, Rob Schneider is an actor and comedian whose specialty was playing other races in Adam Sandler films. I'm surprised he didn't give a shout out to South Park, considering their running gag about him is one of the main reasons he's still relevant. Oh, and his daughter is Elle King. Not that that's relevant to the story, but why leave it out? Of course this is in Tampa. Not that I wouldn't have been able to figure it out considering this entire audience of only old white people. And here comes our boy Rob in his little hat and shoes. He's looking like a dad who tweets compliments to porn stars. I do love how he's wearing this plur necklace though, it's kind of cute. Maybe one of his kids made it for him or something. I'm trying to find something positive to say here.
I'm from California. California is like a beautiful woman who used to blow you, but she hasn't blown you in a long fucking time. You're like, did she ever fucking blow me? I don't even remember.
Okay, so at least he's owning up to being from California. As someone from California, his metaphor for it is actually somewhat accurate, just not particularly funny.
The state of California make my kids wear masks in school, so we moved out to the slightly freer state of Arizona.
Apparently, masks made him move to Arizona. This means he thought masks were worse than Arizona.
My wife calls me, Robert, did you realize that the second most popular plastic surgery procedure for women now is vaginoplasty? I gotta go. Did you fucking go?
I hate that I laughed at that. Like I said, if something genuinely made me laugh, I had to acknowledge it. Here I am, acknowledging it. This is very natural. So here's the inevitable what is a woman bit, because white boomers got a white boom.
Everybody knows what a woman is. A woman is someone who gets mad at you for something you did 3 fucking years ago. Biological fact. A woman is someone who uses the tires of her car as curb feelers.
According to Rob Schneider, a woman is a series of jokes from the 1990s.
A woman is someone who wakes you up at 2 o'clock in the morning to kill a spider in the bathroom. You said you killed it. You didn't kill it.
Siri, what year did Annie Hall come out?
Annie Hall was released on January 1st, 1977.
A woman, someone who makes you check every door and lock in the house after she just checked every door and lock in the house. I didn't put the chain on. Did you put the chain on? Who put the chain on?
Nobody does this.
I hear something. Honey, the only person who wants to kill you is already in the house.
Do men even like women anymore? All they ever want to do is kill them, apparently. Go fuck men then. All your problems will be solved. Oh yeah, so just as we expected, there are plenty of applause breaks, but only for political validation, not because the joke was actually good. I was gonna count them all, but I think I'll save that for the next special. Be sure to stick around for that one.
There's only like 3 airlines left. I don't count Southwest or Spirit. The CEO of United Airlines, he announced of all the hiring for all the new pilots, the main focus is gonna be diversity.
God damn it, I thought he was gonna do more jokes about planes in Florida, but instead he's mad about diversity.
I want a guy up in the cockpit with purple hair and an outside pussy up there, you know?
Oh boy, here come the purple hair jokes. Was this set ghost written by 13-year-old boys on 4chan?
You can't just tell them, you can be anything you want, because they'll take it too far. I want to be a horsey. Yeah. I want to be a wizard. It's just a fucking movie. I want to be a girl. I want to be a girl.
And we're back to the anti-trans jokes. Okay, so not only is he still making the mask jokes, the audience is still applauding the mask jokes. That said, this mask at the bank thing actually could have been something.
When I went to a bank and the guard at the bank was like, excuse me, sir, you're in a bank. You have to wear a mask.
had it been structured as, a joke. Honestly, the worst thing about this is how long it takes him to get to the punchlines. There's so much buildup and so many filler words for the weakest payoffs.
With all the pronouns, and by the way, my pronouns are he and ha, just so everybody. I was always for gay marriage. They want to be just as miserable as me. He's like, go for it,
I am not exaggerating when I say he has not said a single thing that I haven't already seen on Facebook 5 years ago.
If you're a lesbian and you refuse to date someone who identifies as a lesbian but has a dick, you are ridiculed online as a genital bigot.
And now, of course, we're hit with the turfy lesbians are being pressured to date trans women thing. Now, there is plenty of transphobia and biphobia within the queer community, which should not go unnoticed. However, lesbians are still statistically the least likely to discriminate against trans women.
If you have something crazy to say, like men can't have babies, say it in person.
He's just doing lamer versions of Dave Chappelle's already lame trans jokes. It's like the Asylum home entertainment version of The Closer. Oh, so you get alcohol and I don't? You expect me to just raw dog your special? Absolutely not.
98% of all straight men refuse to perform oral sex on a feminine penis.
Are we still talking about this? I literally don't have any more commentary for this. He's been talking about the same thing for 20 minutes. Is there anyone out there who thinks about girl cock more than Rob Schneider? So at one point he starts telling a story about how he met Donald Trump because he was unwittingly signed up to be a judge for a Miss USA pageant. Now, this is a funny premise mainly just because of the scenario where he's awkwardly thrust into this kind of situation. There's a lot that can be done to make this an entertaining story, especially because he can totally get away with bending the truth if he wanted to. An entertaining story is an entertaining story, period. But here are the biggest problems with this. 1. Unless this whole thing didn't happen, there's no way he bent the truth in any way to make it more entertaining because it's a bananas boring story. 2. He opened the joke by saying he voted for Trump, meaning he wasn't going to bend the truth because he didn't want to make daddy upset. And he knows his audience. Nobody can talk badly about my president. Because apparently wanting Trump to penetrate you is a substitute for a personality these days. Also, there's this really weird editing here that I think was an attempt to make this bit funnier, which I empathize with on the editor's part. It just didn't work, at all.
I'm sorry that you didn't get the girl that you wanted. I know it seemed like it meant a lot to you, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that joke I said about you.
Why are we whispering? The gang down at the old folks' home watching this must be so lost right now. He sounds like if Beetlejuice was scared.
Right when I was coming, I voted for Trump! Yeah!
So he just made a stealthing joke, only instead of taking off a condom, he reveals he's a fascist. Kinky stuff.
By the way, the Chinese are trying to kill us. They are. They've been trying to kill us since the 70s. Kung Pao chicken, how spicy that shit was, remember?
I honestly wish he had said something way more racist and offensive. I love how all these anti-woke comics warn you that they're gonna be super offensive, and then they tell the tamest jokes you've ever heard. I've heard light bulb jokes that are edgier than this. Here's a joke that I used to open with when I did stand-up. Hey, what's up, guys? I just tried and failed to fatally asphyxiate myself, and boy are my arms tired. See? Dark and hacky, which is supposedly their goal. But again, Rob knows his audience. They don't actually like offensive humor. Otherwise, they wouldn't get offended by rainbows or red cups or slightly less fuckable M&Ms. Okay, so now he's calling back to his characters from 50 First Dates, Deuce Bigelow, The Hot Chick, etc., etc. If he's really not afraid to say anything, if he really wants to tell it like it is and stick it to the woke mob, let's see if he owns up to starring in The Benchwarmers. Do it. Do it, you coward! So there are a lot of bits, particularly the physical ones, that are very Sandler-esque, and my first instinct is to be like, he stole that from Sandler. But what if Sandler stole his best material from Rob Schneider? What if that's the twist? Sandler is the Mozart to Schneider's Salieri.
It's a much simpler operation of vasectomy than it is for women to get their tubes tied. I mean, even though technically it's her fucking job. I know you're like, what the fuck is that? complications, but I will go into them now. It's a very sensitive vasectomy. Requires to have his hands in your balls.
This story needs to be longer.
One of the weird things about being famous or whatever I am, at some charity function, he's the chief of surgery. And so I said, honey, if I have to have another man with his hands on my balls.
Make it wordier.
So my wife was happy to get rid of me for the whole procedure. Fly out to Milwaukee, because that's where Dr. Salemi is.
By all means, head to your punchline at a leisurely pace. Any minute now.
Well, that's what a vasectomy is.
Jesus Christ, there's a couple in the audience wearing Disney DeSantis shirts, and I'm going to Persona 3 myself. Good to see he's not making any tax jokes since he doesn't work enough to pay taxes.
Let's just go see Paul McCartney in concert. And so on the plane, my daughter comes down with COVID. I can't be the guy who kills Paul McCartney. I can't. Come on, honey. We got to do the right thing. Let's go backstage.
Okay, so he took his COVID-positive daughter to a Paul McCartney concert and then took her backstage to meet him.
He comes in the room. Paul McCartney. And he comes right up to me and said, I like the movie. I didn't see the whole movie. Just a little bit with me song in it. Who's that behind you? No one. There's no one. And my daughter's like, I have COVID! He gave me COVID! Now you're gonna get COVID!
I do wonder how Sir Paul reacted to Rob's daughter revealing that she had COVID. Conveniently, Rob doesn't mention that part of the story before the special ends. If it had ended with Paul getting COVID, it would be a dick move on Rob's part, but it would at least be kinda funny. But it doesn't actually go anywhere other than a live and let die joke. Okay, that was actually exactly what I expected. Good job, Rob. We both survived our first Fox News stand-up special. I hate to say this, but are you good bitches ready for round 2? Good, me neither. So without further ado, let's dive into Roseanne Barr's Cancel This. Background for those of you who only know about the Ambien controversy, Roseanne is an actress and comedian whose popularity peaked in the 80s and 90s, and was the titular character of her own sitcom. She also coined the term domestic goddess, and was an outspoken member of the Green Party before, changing. And most painfully for me, I actually really liked her. Alright, so of course we're in Houston, and Roseanne is looking like your 7-year-old cousin who's obsessed with horses. I can't with the pigtails, girl. Don't lure me into a false sense of security. In case any of you were wondering, this is what happened to baby Jane.
What a privilege it is for you to have me here this evening, ladies and gentlemen.
How much Ambien do you think she took before this? I'm wagering 3.
Where are my peeps that are gonna get really offended if I do not offend everybody?
Okay, so offense is the goal here, as it is with all the greatest comics. I guarantee she will not say anything offensive.
None of my daughters are here because they don't agree with me politically. They're libtards, so they didn't show up.
You know, I appreciate the honesty. So like I mentioned earlier, these are billed as stand-up specials, but they're really just panderfests. So now I will start the applause break counter and the things she said that caused the applause. They're not jokes, I assure you.
They're libtards, so they didn't show up. All these gorgeous little tiny baby deer in my yard. It's so fantastic, because I can pull out my AR-15 and blow them just to smithereens. Legally! Open carry, bitches! Hell yeah! I thought the bitch was white. It's true. I mean, I'd rather die than do effing promos, not the ones that Fox is asking me to do. I'm more than happy to do those.
I'm not sure if this is a stand-up special or a cautionary tale for Christina P. Oh my god, is she that level of old person who leaves a trail of tissues everywhere she goes? I feel like she's a little too young for that, or maybe it's just the pigtails and denim. Either way, if she is, that's kind of charming.
ABC is on the phone, they want to talk to you. I'm like, oh shit, I don't want to talk to no Hillary donors. We'll have to see how the community reacts. Baby blood drinking Democrat community or the Protect Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey, and Prince Andrew community.
The Protect Harvey Weinstein people you're griping about protected you when you were abusing your staff on the set of your show. For a Jewish person, she seems really comfortable with spreading anti-Semitic dog whistles. Like, the whole baby blood drinking Democrat conspiracy is textbook anti-Semitic blood libel shit. But hey, whatever gets applause.
I guess they thought they shut me up, but guess what? I was really mad what they did to my fans because they disrespected their own viewers, you know? We can learn to get along, for God's sake.
Yeah, this isn't a stand-up special, this is a political rally. Who are these fucking NPCs in the audience laughing at this?
I am not going to let rich, privileged assholes win. I'm not.
Siri, what's Roseanne Barr's net worth?
Roseanne Barr's net worth was $80 million in 2018.
Still be an American, and by God, they hated that. My agent called and said Fox Nation was offering me a big contract to do a stand-up special. Imagine my shock.
Yeah, imagine mine. Again, Fox News is making stand-up specials. The jokes practically write themselves, and yet these folks still can't come up with one.
No racism, sexism, transphobia, homophobia, anti-Semitism. I go, well, there goes my whole fucking act. My lawyers were able to go in and wrangle a 3 F-word deal out of the Fox Nation's lawyers. Would you mind giving my daughter here that shot right in her eyeball after she's born? Could you give her 10 of those right in the eyeball? Could you give her a shot right in her little baby clitoris?
What the fuck are you talking about? Did tickets to the show come with a free bag of breadcrumbs so audiences could actually find their way home?
Thank you for the validation.
Oh. She said the quiet part out loud.
I still live in Hawaii. Now I'm like half Hawaii, half Texas, which is cool.
Wow, 2 properties in Hawaii and Texas, but sure, we won't let the rich assholes win.
Sure, Jan.
It really helps you if you have anxiety issues, which I do, because I get very anxious when I think I might run out of pot, so it's a very good treatment.
Okay, so the pot anxiety joke was funny. I mean, I've heard it before, like, so many times, but, in fairness, I did say that I would acknowledge the funnies.
I probably shouldn't even drive is the bottom line there, since I can't see. And yes, it's true, I have hit a few people, but, you know, luckily I was not hurt, so, you know, it all worked out.
Why is her delivery, like, non-existent? Like, Rob Schneider was bad, but, like, he tried. Like, he clearly wrote down a set and rehearsed it. Right now, she's making him like George Carlin, and that is depressing.
Because that's what we Jews do when we're losing an argument, right? You are an anti-Semite.
As a Jew, I ain't getting near that.
I've had the COVID 4 times now, and I lost all my taste.
She says that as if she had taste to begin with.
I just laid there in bed talking to God and writing jokes. It was fantastic.
Cool. Want to share them with the rest of the class?
It's our fault. Us baby boomers. We ruined their lives. We lied to them all the way.
Okay. Finally. Thank you. Appreciate.
My son, he's 27 years old. He's the only one of my children who ever went to college and graduated. I couldn't be more proud. But what does he do with it? Just sits there in my office playing video games all night long. Call of Duty.
Dude, I'd totally play Call of Duty with Roseanne's son. That sounds fun. Is he any funnier than she is, or does he also call people the N-word? Okay, and now she's doing the what is a woman bit. That is exactly the same as Rob Schneider's.
I'll tell you what a woman is. A woman is me. My pronouns are Kiss my ass!
Roseanne, my good bitch. Your stand-up comedy career began in the 70s. You had your own show for 10 seasons. You ran for president. You have $80 million. You have multiple homes in multiple states. And here you are, stealing jokes from Ted Cruz.
Well, I'm Ted Cruz, and my pronoun is kiss my ass.
Yes, that Ted Cruz.
Everything's fine. You're okay.
Wait, you're leaving us?
No. I'm just seeing something down the back.
Oh my God, you're leaving. He's leaving us.
These Me Too whores, they are so on my last nerve. If you are going to go to a Disney producer's room at 3 a.m., then you're not going to turn around and cry about it and try to get some money out of it.
Okay, so who is the bad guy here? Weinstein or the women who were abused by him? Make it make sense, girl.
My kids can't get away with anything that I know about.
Pop another Ambien. You'll never know about anything ever again.
I'm going to count to 5 like that's some big threat. I'm like, you gotta hit these bitches.
There is a whole ass episode of Roseanne about how hitting your kids is wrong. So this entire special has been nothing but complaining. There was one joke about weed that I had heard several times already, and that's it. How much did Rob Schneider get paid for doing one of these? Because I'm pretty sure Roseanne only made 75%.
I defy you to go home and tell your wife or girlfriend that she needs to sit down and shut her yap.
So Roseanne seems to think that every relationship is awful, full of disdain and resentment, and always so annoyed. Does she think every family is the family from Hereditary?
So full of disdain and resentment and always so annoyed.
As I'm jealous of anyone who has an ass, because I was born assless in an ass-based economy and I'm bitter about it.
Mildly amusing.
And last but not least, I'm never going on another date with Bill Cosby.
Wow, that Bill Cosby joke fell flatter than her ass. Hey, her words, not mine.
A very expensive trip for my wife and myself to go to Homer, Alaska, our anniversary. I just want to know if I'm going to get lucky.
No, you're still going to have to fuck her. Sorry, sir. You're still going to have sex with her, so you won't be getting lucky.
Yes, explain the joke. That'll make it better. I will say, out of all the crowd work jokes that she does, this was the strongest one in my opinion.
Feniquito and I have about 4 months now. Am I bringing you back to my 42 suit again?
Yes, you will, sir. They'll bury you in it. I'm spreading the love, you know? I think that I'm helpful with getting people to spread the love.
Spreading the love by spitting bitterness, anger, and resentment.
And we're very depressed and this and that over the quarantine and the fact of what they done to us.
Who's they? Tell me who they is. Tell me, you coward.
Dear McDonald's, your refusal to offer the McRib sandwich year-round, you never know when it's going to come back, do you?
McRib jokes. Let's go. Finally, some untapped territory. No, but really, do people in the audience realize that this is played out, or are conservatives just once again completely out of the loop when it comes to pop culture?
Tonight, go home, tell those you love to fuck off right now.
Okay, this ended on a note. Okay, where do I start with these? This is almost exactly what I expected these specials to be like. They hit all the talking points that conservatives make up in their own heads and then get mad and or horny about. Everything said on both stages was the same brain-dead boomer lead poisoning memes you've seen on Facebook a million times. It was Panderfest 2023. Again, exactly what I expected. What I didn't expect is how I felt afterwards. When my co-producer and I were prepping for this video, we watched these specials in the same order that we did here. Completely sober, mind you. We raw-dogged these specials for your entertainment. And after the Roseanne special, we couldn't help but feel really sad. See, I've been trying this new thing called I've been trying this new thing called empathy. Like, obviously we made commentary throughout, but I actually found it kind of difficult to really roast Roseanne because unlike Rob's special, which was just cringy conservative comedy, hers felt more like a cry for help. I didn't want to roast her. I wanted to ask if she's okay. I'd have a lot more pity if she didn't have, and I repeat, $80 million. But I do have Empathy. Keep in mind, this woman was a massively successful Green Party Jewish comedian who regularly spoke out against fascism and ran for president under the Peace and Freedom Party. It all changed when Donald Trump had officially become the presidential nominee in the mid-2010s, where she openly supported him and began shamelessly spreading conspiracy theories that are notoriously anti-Semitic. I don't hate Rob Schneider, but I definitely never liked him or his body of work. But once upon a time, Roseanne was a fucking icon and a trailblazer for women in comedy, and was genuinely funny. So I really can't help but wonder, what the fuck happened here? A big part of being successful in comedy is being relatable. Like I said earlier, the reason the Trump cult thinks their daddy is funny isn't because of anything particularly funny that he said, it's because he's an openly terrible person, and most importantly, one that they relate to. He's provided them with the illusion that they now have free reign to be as openly hateful and bigoted as they want, because he's as openly hateful and bigoted as he wants, and the whole thing just turns into a gigantic circle jerk of terrible people. The overwhelming majority of Roseanne's special was her just projecting bitterness and misery onto others. Again, very few laughs, plenty of applause. They found validation in each other just as they had with Trump. And if Roseanne really is this bitter and unhappy at this point in her life, maybe that's what drew her to Trump in the first place. Roseanne is 71 years old and had her first child when she was only 17, which she put up for adoption. She then had 4 more, and her youngest is roughly my age. In this special, she also slurred out how she was consistently told that she was fat and unattractive from a very young age, and that she would be lucky for any man to want her.
My mother and father were very concerned that I would never find a husband because I was fat. You're never going to get a husband unless you go on a diet. I mean, no guy is ever going to want to marry you, what with you having no tuchus, that's what they say, no hips, no buttocks, no waist, and a big mouth, and you're always in trouble, and you're really fat.
Like a lot of mid-century women, she was forced to be a mother when she probably didn't want to be, and dealt with society's beauty standards for women which she didn't fit.
A woman is someone who cleans up everybody else's shit. That's what a woman is. A woman is somebody whose boobs hang down to her knees with a prolapsed uterus from giving birth to 5 ungrateful little privileged bastards that have never had to work for anything in their whole damn life.
And all this reminds me of Anita Bryant and other right-wing women. Women who are ambitious and opinionated and have a nugget of righteousness in their anger, but they instead direct it at the other. So instead of blaming the patriarchy and the misogyny so deeply ingrained in our culture, Roseanne, like a lot of women on Twitter and in her audience, claim that trans women are somehow taking that experience away from them. So when she jokes about calling her kids libtards and calling them lazy or whatever, it's clear that these jokes aren't coming from anywhere other than resentment. And I get it. She also suffers from dissociative identity disorder, which has probably made this a lot worse for her. But that's stuff that should be saved for therapy, which she can afford, and not a comedy show which people are paying good money to see. I definitely did not expect to write this much about one of the worst stand-up specials I've ever seen in my entire life. And for the record, Roseanne is a cunt, but I get it. And I appreciate her body of work before everything went downhill. I'd call Rob Schneider a cunt too, but I didn't really get that vibe from him. He produced a special that was exactly as funny as the rest of his career, meaning it wasn't. That said, even though we can empathize with Roseanne and understand where her bitterness and resentment is coming from, that doesn't change the fact that Fox News made its own synthetic stand-up special suit that it can wear and spew the exact same stupid rhetoric and talking points that it always has. Same shit, different medium. It's telling the same folks exactly what they want to hear, just in a different packaging. Rob and Roseanne likely knew exactly what they were getting into when they were booked to do these specials, which is why they spent the overwhelming majority of their time farming for applause rather than telling actual jokes. It's still a grift, and it's still a way to profit off the culture war. The other thing is, you have to be smart to be able to tell jokes and to get jokes. Rob and Roseanne aren't stupid by any means, so I wonder if they knew their audiences would be. How do I know this? Because these people bought tickets for shows that were being produced by fucking Fox News. Maybe they knew that people wearing Disney DeSantis shirts weren't going to understand any joke that didn't involve shitting on minorities. Or any joke, period. Neither Rob nor Roseanne said anything that offensive. Definitely nothing funny. Just spewing the exact same talking points we've all heard 1,000 times. And that, good bitches, is the Fox News grift. Alright. I think that's enough conservative comedy and empathy for one day. So thanks for hanging in there with me. I hated these specials, and I hate Fox News, and I hate the fact that they are now producing stand-up specials, but you know what I love? The winning comment from the last video. Jorginho, I already know I butchered that, sorry, says, I was an idiot to have rolled my eyes before hearing the whole video. Liked and subscribed.
I've won. Exactly as planned.
You too can be featured in the next video. Leave a comment below and I will pick my favorite one and give you a shout out next time and pin you to the top of the comments section. If you would like to see more of my clown mug elsewhere, please consider following me on Instagram or TikTok. My handle for both is @QueenCokeFrancis. If you enjoyed this video and you haven't done so already, please pop an entire bottle of Ambien and go on a deranged tweet spree. When you wake up and see that everyone is mad, go on TV to apologize, but instead just go ahead and unzip your pants and dick slap those like and subscribe buttons as hard as you can. And, of course, as always, until next time,